Everyone, welcome back to this series on this incredible book called The Way of the Superior Man. If you haven't seen the other episodes, in every episode we will be reviewing a chapter of this book and doing a little discourse at the end on how you can implement the beautiful, profound wisdom of this book into your life. So if you don't know this book, it's called The Way of the Superior Man, a man's spiritual guide for navigating the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire by David Deida. And I dare say it is one of the most profound men's spiritual guides on navigating the challenges of life, probably in history. That's how profound this book is. So I'm happy to be sharing it with you. And without further ado, let's get into chapter 4. Know your real edge and don't fake it. It is honorable for a man to admit his fears, resistance, and edge of practice. It is simply true that each man has his limit, his capacity for growth, and his destiny. But it is dishonorable for him to lie to himself or others about his real place. He shouldn't pretend he is more enlightened than he is, nor should he stop short of his actual edge. The more a man is playing his real edge, the more valuable he is as good company for other men, the more he can be trusted to be authentic and fully present. Where a man's edge is located is less important than whether he is actually living his edge in truth, rather than being lazy or deluded. Pick an area of your life, perhaps your intimate relationship, your career, your relationship with your children, or your spiritual practice. For instance, you are currently doing something to earn a living. Where do your fears stop you from making a larger contribution to mankind, from earning a higher income, or from earning money in a more creative or enjoyable way? If you were absolutely fearless, would you be earning a living in exactly the same way as you are now? Your edge is where you stop short, or where you compromise your fullest gift and instead cater to your fears. Have you lost touch with the fears that are limiting and shaping your income and style of livelihood? If you have deluded yourself and feel that you are not afraid, then you're lying to yourself. All men are afraid unless they are perfectly free. If you cannot admit this, you are pretending to yourself and to others. Your friends will feel your fear, even if you do not. Thus, they will lose trust in you, knowing you are deluding yourself, lying to yourself, and therefore likely to lie to them, consciously or unconsciously. Or perhaps you are very aware of your fears to take risks, your fear of failing, or your fear of succeeding. Perhaps you are comfortable with your life and fear the lifestyle change that may accompany a changing career, even though a new career would be closer to what you really want to do with your life. Some men fear the feeling of fear and therefore don't even approach their edge. They choose a job they know they can do well and easily and don't even approach the fullest giving of their gift. Their lives are relatively secure and comfortable, but dead. They lack aliveness, the depth, and the inspirational energy that is the sign of a man who is living at his edge. If you are this kind of man who is hanging back, working hard perhaps, but not at your real edge, other men will not be able to trust you that you can and will help them live at their edge and give their fullest gift. As an experiment, describe your edge with respect to your career out aloud to yourself. Say something like, I know I could be earning more money, but I'm too lazy to put in the hours it would take. I know I could give more of my true gift, but I'm afraid that I may not succeed, and then I'll be a penniless failure. I've spent 15 years developing my career, and I'm afraid to let it go and start fresh, even though I know that I spend most of my life doing things I have no real interest in doing. I could be making money in more creative ways, but I spend too much time watching TV rather than being creative. Honor your edge. Honor your choices. Be honest with yourself about them. Be honest with your friends about them. A fearful man who knows he is fearful is far more trustable than a fearful man who isn't aware of his fear. And a fearful man who still leans into his fear, living at his edge and putting his gift out from there, is more trustworthy and more inspirational than a fearful man who hangs back in the comfort zone, unwilling to even experience his fear on a day-to-day level. A free man is free to acknowledge his fears without hiding them or hiding from them. Live with your lips pressed against your fears, kissing your fears, neither pulling back nor aggressively violating them. That chapter, so for your context, I first read this book when I was 19 and I'm 35 now. And I have continued to live my life, or tried to live my life through this very philosophy. And I can tell you, by doing this has been my ticket to my income increasing beyond anything I ever thought possible. It's been my ticket to meeting better and better connections, better and better types of people, opening up my options in terms of the type of people that I get to date and be in relationships with, and opening up the quality and richness and fulfillment that I experience in those relationships. But beyond dating and beyond money, it's opened me up to the type of friendships of people that really inspire me, that I previously would never have dreamed of. And to this day, the type of people that I am lucky enough to be friends with, most people have to queue up in a long line just to get a little bit of time with them. And that comes because birds of a feather flock together. So the more you honor your fears, the more you honor, just be real about where you're at. It's probably, self-honesty, I would say, is probably one of the hardest things we can ever do. It's so hard because it really requires us to step into the unknown, to surrender, to trust ourselves, to trust that we will find a way. But it also requires us to swallow our pride, drop the ego, admit failure. It's a huge, it opens you up to the ultimate transformation, because you become free when you are self-honest about where you're at. A huge transformative time for me was after the second or third year of running my business. When I left corporate, I was struggling. I think it was after the second year, I was struggling so much financially. And my fiance at the time, she was interstate with her parents, and she called me and she said, "Dim, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore. I can't stand being so poor all the time. I just can't do it anymore." And to be honest, it almost scared me, because it made me feel like she was going to leave. And what I did that night was I opened up a spreadsheet and I wrote down my actual income that I was earning from my business, and then I wrote down all the expenses I was getting from my business, or just getting every month. And then I realized, when you looked at the money I had saved up, the income that I was getting and projected to get, and the expenses I had, there was no way I could continue with my business. And it was the scariest, most gut-wrenching thing to face that. But because I faced the reality, it opened me up to an immense transformation, because I realized, look, I can't do it this way. I've probably got to go back to corporate, which is the very thing that I fear. But it allowed me to speak to a trusted friend who gave me some incredible advice. She effectively said, "Dim, I know that you want to stay doing your business so you can focus on your business, but you're not focusing on your business because you're so worried about finances. So you might as well just do the corporate job, and at least you can handle your finances, and then you'll still build your business." And it was beautiful advice, and it led me to letting go of all of that stress, and calling my old boss that I used to work for, and his comfort, and him just saying, of course, don't worry, we'll hook it up, come back. It took so much pressure off me, and it almost felt like it unthrottled life. I was holding on to life so tight because I had such a restricted model of how I was going to live my life, and that I was never going to go back to corporate, and I was only going to find a way to make it work. It was so restricted. And when I let go and admit, and just looked at the reality and realized I couldn't keep going this way, and I had to just let go, it opened me up to receiving new types of support. It allowed me to just let go of all this pressure. And ironically, I never even went back to corporate. Actually, with all that pressure released, I just felt better. And then it was almost like, I don't know, who knows, my energy or this or that or whatever, but suddenly my business started doing better, and I started to get all this sales, all this money, and that year my whole business transformed. But the night was darkest before the dawn, and I had to really face and be self-honest about where I was at. And the wonderful thing is, the more self-honest you are, the more you strive, the more you be real about where you're at, and then go, but I'm going to try and make my life better anyway. I'm going to keep trying no matter what. It creates this very vital, energetic, inspirational energy about you, a magnetic energy about you, because people love authenticity, people love honesty, and people love someone who is not being a victim but actually trying no matter what. People love supporting those type of people. And it's because of that I have gone on to build, the business that I've built, but also, as I said, resonated with incredible business owners and incredible friends who have helped me in terms of their connections in ways untold, and had incredible relationships that all come from self-honesty, which, as I said, is the hardest thing to do. So I really hope this chapter encourages you to have a really good look at your life, where you are playing short, and at the very least, just admit that to yourself. Then you can think about how, if and what you want to change. But at least start with just being real to yourself. So I really hope this video helps. If it has helped you, I really do encourage you to share it with anyone else that this video may help. You're so welcome, and I would love for you to connect with me on Instagram. My name is Dim Happer. You can find me pretty easily. And I can't wait to have you at the next episode. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you at the next